Have you ever wondered, what if the hardest moments of your life weren't detours, but necessary chapters? What if the rejections, the unexpected losses, the betrayals that left you gasping were not random misfortunes, but signs guiding you toward something greater? Life doesn't always speak in clear language. Sometimes it whispers through discomfort. Sometimes it shouts through collapse. But beneath the chaos, there is an unseen order, a quiet intelligence. The universe is not throwing darts in the dark. It's responding to your growth moment by moment, even when it feels silent. You were never left behind. You were being carved into something new. In this video, we'll explore one of the most powerful truths rooted in Buddhist wisdom. Nothing is accidental. Everything has meaning, especially the parts you wish had never happened. Stay with us to the end, because there's a bonus teaching that could shift your entire perspective. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, a sanctuary of clarity, calm, and ancient insight to help you walk through this modern world with depth and grace. Let's begin. Lesson 1. What broke you was actually what began to awaken you. Every person has a turning point, a moment that knocks the wind out of your soul. Maybe it came as a sudden goodbye, maybe as a phone call you'll never forget, or maybe it came as a slow erosion, like waves against a rock, until one day you looked around and realized nothing was the same. You felt split, not in body, but in spirit, a kind of quiet shattering that no one else could see, but that you felt with every heartbeat. Why does it seem like only after something breaks we begin to see clearly? Buddhist wisdom, echoed through centuries, gives us an answer, both painful and beautiful. The crack is not the end. It's where the light gets in. Picture a handmade bowl once whole and strong. Then life cracks it. But instead of tossing it aside, imagine it filled with golden light seeping through its fracture. That once ordinary bowl becomes something sacred, not because it's perfect, but because of its imperfection. This is the miracle hidden inside your breaking. You weren't being shattered to be ruined. You were being opened so you could finally feel life in full. In Buddhism, suffering is not seen as a curse. It's a call, a sacred summons to live more truthfully, to peel back the layers of illusion and ego and meet the rawness of life with tenderness. The first noble truth acknowledges what we all feel: life brings suffering. But the second noble truth goes deeper. It teaches that suffering has origins. It's not random. It has roots. And if something has a cause, it also has a meaning. When we resist our pain, we harden, we close, But if we choose to stay, just stay with the ache, something shifts. Slowly, gently, we begin to hear what the pain was trying to teach us all along. Right now, take one gentle breath. Feel your chest rise. Now one more. And ask yourself not how to erase the hurt, but how to meet it without fear. Maybe the pain wasn't a punishment. Maybe it was a doorway. What if your pain was trying to tell you something? Have you ever paused to ask yourself, what was my pain trying to teach me? Behind every wound, there may be a lesson quietly waiting for you to notice, a lesson that doesn't shout, doesn't rush, but touches the deepest part of your being. Most of us spend years trying to forget. Forget the betrayal. Forget the loss. Forget the moment that broke us. But what if that very moment, the one that brought you to your knees, was actually the first spark of your rising? Not with noise or fanfare, but with quiet awakening. I remember a time in my own journey when someone I trusted deeply walked away without a word. I was left with questions that had no answers. But in that silence, something remarkable happened. I began to meet myself, not the version I had carefully crafted for others, but the real self underneath the roles, masks, and expectations. Slowly, clarity began to settle like moonlight on a still lake. Ask yourself, what pain cracked you open? And what strength emerged from the silence that followed? Write it down. Hold it with care. That's not weakness. It's your sacred rebirth. If this message is resonating with you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe for more Buddhist reflections, and share in the comments. What moment changed your life? What would you do differently? Or maybe, just maybe, everything happened exactly the way it needed to. Remember this. Nothing is a coincidence. Life is not random. Everything you've lost, everything that fell apart, it didn't end you. It prepared you. You are not broken. You are awakening. The soul doesn't shine despite the cracks. It shines because of them. We'd love to hear your story. And if you're not sure what to say, simply type, "I trust every twist" in the comments. Lesson 2. You weren't delayed. You were being divinely aligned. There are seasons in life when everything seems to stop. You knock, but the door doesn't open. You give your all, but no one seems to notice. You wait and wait. And in the silence, doubt begins to whisper, "Did I do something wrong? Have I been forgotten?" But what if the life you were reaching for wasn't delayed, but protected? Buddhist wisdom teaches us that not yet is often the greatest gift. It's difficult to see that when your plans collapse or when the world celebrates others while you remain in stillness. But maybe the door didn't open today because something far greater is being prepared for you just beyond what you can see. Lesson 3. Delay is not denial. It's deep preparation. We often think that timing is about action, about taking steps, making moves, pushing forward. But real timing has little to do with what you do, and everything to do with who you are becoming. The universe doesn't operate on our schedules or deadlines. It moves according to a deeper rhythm, one of alignment, not urgency. Think of the bamboo tree. For years, it shows no signs of growth above ground. No sprouting leaves, no dramatic progress, just silence, stillness. Meanwhile, beneath the soil, it's building something extraordinary, an invisible web of roots strong enough to support its towering future. Then, almost suddenly, it shoots up several feet in just weeks. What looks like overnight success was silent preparation all along. Maybe that's where you are now. Not seen, not applauded, but growing where no one can see. In Buddhism, this is known as the practice of patient surrender. It's not waiting with frustration. It's waiting with trust. Life isn't punishing you. It's preparing you. It's teaching you to believe in what's not visible, to lean into the unknown without fear. It's also teaching you to loosen your grip on control. Take a breath now. Inhale slowly, and in your mind, say, "I trust." As you exhale, whisper gently in perfect timing, "Again, I trust." In perfect timing. Can you feel it? That small release of pressure in your chest, that softening. There's something holy about being delayed. It invites stillness. It forces reflection. It digs deep into places where strength has been quietly waiting to surface. Because when you don't get what you want right away, you're given a rare gift, the space to ask yourself, what do I truly need? This is how surface-level desires slowly evolve into soul-level wisdom. I once spoke with a woman who was heartbroken after losing what she believed was a dream job. It vanished at the last moment, and she felt crushed, betrayed by life. But months later, another path appeared, one that honored her well-being, her purpose, her peace. The previous job might have looked perfect on paper, but it wasn't right for her soul. That no wasn't rejection. It was a sacred not yet. And that delay, it wasn't a setback. It was her turning point. So I invite you now. What if your current waiting is not an obstacle, but a preparation? What if life is shaping you for something that requires more depth, more patience, more alignment? What if you're being corved to carry something greater? Take a moment to write that question down. Don't rush the answer. Let it breathe within you, like a prayer. You are not falling behind. You are not being forgotten. You are being realigned with something better than you imagined. If these words stirred something in you, please like this video, subscribe to this space of calm and clarity, and share your thoughts below. What have you been waiting for? And what might that waiting be teaching you? Let this truth settle softly in your heart. Nothing is random. The universe is never late. It is purposeful. It is precise. And it is loving. Lesson 4. Letting go isn't losing. It's making space. The journey you're on was never meant to be hurried. It's not a race to the finish, but a path of unfolding, measured, meaningful, and deeply personal. Some turns you thought were wrong may actually be divine guidance in disguise. Some things that fall away weren't meant to last. They were meant to reveal what's real. You'll know this moment when it comes, something precious starts slipping through your hands. Maybe it's a relationship you've poured your heart into. Maybe it's a role you've given your soul to, or a dream you've nurtured for years only to watch it slowly unravel. And you ask, why now? Why this? Why when I finally gave it my all? It feels like betrayal, a cruel twist. But what if it's not betrayal at all? What if it's life finally showing you who you truly are? In Buddhist teaching, impermanence isn't a punishment. It's a compass. Everything that leaves your life is clearing a sacred space for what is meant to stay. What's truly yours, your peace, your essence, your truth, can never be taken. What falls away was never meant to remain. What stays, that's who you really are. Picture a tree in late autumn. Its leaves, once full of color and vitality, begin to drift gently to the ground. It doesn't resist. It doesn't cling. Because the tree understands letting go isn't the end. It's the beginning of something deeper, an inward blooming. In surrender, it feeds its roots. It gathers quiet strength for the season ahead. And maybe your life is the same. Things aren't falling apart. They're falling into alignment. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture your heart as a great ancient tree. Its branches open wide, weathered by storms, strong yet soft. Now imagine one single leaf light, fragile golden. Watch it float down, carried by the breeze. Let it go without judgment, without blame, without needing to know what comes next. This is how healing begins, not by holding on tighter, but by knowing when the soul says it's time to release. There was a chapter in my life where I clung to something I had already outgrown, a version of myself built from fear, shaped by old stories. I held tight to the job, the label, the identity. But the tighter I held on, the more life whispered gently, "This no longer holds you." And the moment I finally let it fall, I didn't break. I blossomed. In that space of surrender, I realized something simple but profound. Loss is not the opposite of love. It's love changing form. It's not the end of your worth. It's the birth of a deeper truth. So let me ask you, what are you still grasping that no longer reflects who you've become? And more importantly, what new space is quietly opening because of that release? You don't need to force the answers. Let them come like spring rain, soft, slow, steady, rising from the stillness of winter. And if you've ever felt like life took something from you unfairly, pause. Breathe. Maybe it wasn't taken. Maybe you were being returned to yourself. Lesson 5. Letting go is how the soul grows. Sometimes what you thought was a loss may actually have been a blessing too deep for words. A silent grace, not loud or obvious, but transformative in its own quiet way. Because here's a truth the heart often resists. The soul doesn't grow by collecting more. It grows by letting go. Not through adding, but subtracting. Through the empty spaces. Through the quiet. Through every leaf that falls, making room for light. If these words stir something within you, take a moment to pause. Like this video, subscribe to continue receiving reflections like these, and share in the comments. What is one thing you are finally ready to let fall away? Remember this. The universe is not here to punish you. It's here to prune you, to remove what is no longer in alignment so that your truest self can be revealed. What falls was never meant to define you. What remains that is who you are, and what is real, cannot ever be lost. Lesson 6. Rejection is not an end. It's a realignment. There are moments that land like a heavy door slamming shut. Moments that echo with disappointment when the job didn't come through, the relationship didn't work out, or the chance you were reaching for disappeared in front of you. In those moments, you may whisper, "Why me?" But maybe, just maybe, the question isn't why, But what for? What if that rejection wasn't there to break you, but to redirect you? Buddhist wisdom teaches that rejection is not failure. It's recalibration, a sacred rerouting. Think of it this way. A closed door may be protecting you from a fire you didn't know was burning behind it. Not every dream is meant to bloom. Not every desire is meant to unfold. But everything that happens, especially the moments that sting, unfolds with a quiet precision, even if we can't understand it yet. Life sees further than we do. A river doesn't staw when it meets a boulder. It doesn't scream, resist, or collapse. It simply pauses, softens, and curves around the obstacle, finding a new path with quiet power. And in time, that new path still leads to the ocean. That's how your life works too. When something pushes you away, it may be so you can finally flow into what's truly yours. When life tells you no, it may be whispering, not this, but something better. Take a moment now to reflect. What was the last no life gave you? Was it a door you tried so hard to open? Was it someone you loved who chose another path? And instead of asking why it closed, what might life be guiding you toward? Lesson 7. Rejection is sometimes the universe's kindest answer. Breathe into this truth. What you thought was a firm no may have secretly been the universe's gentlest yes. A yes you couldn't have seen unless life intervened. I remember once chasing a path I was certain was mine. I gave it everything, my time, my energy, my belief. I called it destiny. But the more I pursued it, the more resistance I faced. It felt confusing, personal, even cruel. And yet, what I couldn't see then was that life wasn't closing a door to punish me. It was setting me free from a smaller story. In time, that no so painful in the moment became the beginning of something real. It led me to a deeper sense of purpose, to a peace I didn't know I was missing, to alignment I never thought I deserved. What if your greatest disappointment is secretly your clearest direction? What unexpected beauty has emerged from your most heartbreaking no? Take a moment to reflect. Let it rise gently from within, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Sometimes the place you call failure is actually the starting point of your true path. And if you're standing in the middle of a rejection right now, please breathe. Don't resist the flow. Don't cling to what's falling away. Life is not misplacing you. It's repositioning you. And often, not getting what you desperately wanted is the greatest act of compassion life can offer. Because the soul knows what the ego forgets. some things must fall apart, so better things can fall into place. If this message touched something in you, I invite you to pause, take a breath, and in the comments, share your reflection. What rejection, looking back, became your greatest gift? Like this video, subscribe to stay connected to more mindful truths, and remember this: the universe doesn't block to punish, it blocks to redirect with love. So trust the current. It knows the way, especially when you don't. Lesson 8. The soul doesn't choose safety. It chooses growth. There's a reason peace often arrives after the storm, not before it. Not because storms are cruel, but because storms are sacred. Growth doesn't happen in stillness alone. It begins in discomfort, in the cracking open, in the undoing. The soul doesn't long for ease. It longs for expansion. And true expansion stretches us past what is safe, beyond what is easy. It takes us to the edge of who we were and invites us to become something more. Think of the lotus flower. It does not bloom in pristine water. It rises slowly, delicately through mud, petal by trembling petal. It emerges from the dark toward the light. And we are not so different. The world often teaches us to chase what's pleasant, light, comfort, beauty. But the soul knows better. It leads us into the wild, into the unknown, into the places we'd rather avoid. Why? Because it understands a profound truth. Transformation rarely comes wearing the clothes of peace. More often, it comes disguised as pressure, as chaos, as loss, not to break you, but to remake you. Lesson 9. Falling apart is often falling into place. Think back to a moment when everything collapsed, not gradually, not gently, but all at once, like a house caving in, like the ground vanishing beneath your feet. At the time, it felt like failure, like the story was over. But when the dust finally settled, wasn't there something new rising from the rubble? A deeper truth, a quiet strength, a version of yourself that didn't exist before. That is the soul's way. It does not move in tidy lines or predictable progress. It spirals. It circles back to old aches, not to haunt you, but to reveal how far you've come. The soul breaks you out of comfort, not because it is cruel, but because comfort cannot grow you. It can only cradle you. The soul doesn't want you just safe. It wants you awake. Close your eyes now. Breathe deeply. and ask yourself, what is my soul trying to become? Don't force the answer. Let it rise gently from within, like the echo of a long-forgotten song. Maybe it's calling you to be braver, to speak more truthfully, to love more gently, to live more fully. But one thing is always true. Growth asks for release. It never arrives without some letting go, without mud, without moments where it all seems to fall apart. So ask yourself honestly, where in your life are you clinging too tightly? Where are you resisting the very discomfort that could lead to your transformation? Maybe the part of your life that feels like it's breaking down is not breaking at all. Maybe it's becoming. Pain is not a punishment, and suffering is never random. Every single emotion you feel is a messenger. Every trial is a sculptor. And every storm, no matter how fierce, washes away something you've outgrown. So breathe into that discomfort. Don't rush it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Stay. Because the deeper the ache, the more profound the shift that follows. Like bamboo that must split before it soars skyward. You are not breaking. You are being remade. If something in these words stirred the stillness inside you, pause, honor that. Let it move you. Let it guide you. Like this video, subscribe to this space of spiritual reflection. And in the comments, share your truth. What part of you is being reborn through this struggle? And above all, remember nothing is by accident. Not even the storms. Especially not the storms. The soul always remembers its purpose, even when you forget. We'd love to hear your heart. Lesson 10. What you lose becomes what you know. If you're not sure what to say right now, just pause and type this in the comments. I trust every twist because there's something quietly powerful about trusting the path, even the painful turns. Here's one of the deepest truths the soul learns. Everything you lose eventually returns, just not always in the way you expect. Not everything that leaves your life is truly gone. Some things come back not as people, not as possessions, but as wisdom, as clarity, as a stillness that knows what it didn't know before, as a silent strength that couldn't have formed without the ache of absence. Loss often feels like a thief at first. It enters uninvited, takes something sacred, and leaves you with only silence. You're left staring at the space where something beautiful used to be. But stay in that silence long enough, and you'll start to hear something softer. A whisper of understanding, a flicker of grace. Because loss is rarely the ending we think it is. Often, it's the threshold, the opening to deeper seeing. It's the doorway the soul walks through when it's ready to evolve. Picture a teacup once full, now spilled across the floor. Our first instinct is to mourn the mess, the emptiness, the absence. But only in that empty space can something new be poured. Not always something sweeter, but something wiser. And unlike comfort wisdom endures. Now think of a loss you've carried, a person who left, a dream that dissolved, a version of yourself you had to let go. What did that loss take from you? But more importantly, what has it since given? Maybe it left behind resilience. Maybe it deepened your compassion. Maybe it awakened a gentleness in you that others now find healing. Maybe it revealed who you are when there's nothing left to prove, when the noise fades and only truth remains. We fear letting go. We fear endings. But life in its quiet intelligence knows exactly when something has run its course. What falls away usually falls right on time. We just rarely understand the schedule. We resist it. We grieve it. We beg it to stay. And in that pleading, we forget something essential. Nothing meant for your soul's growth will ever truly leave you. It will return. Not in the same form, but in a new shape, as a lantern lit with knowing. So close your eyes now. Bring to mind one great loss. Now picture it not as an absence, but as a light. What did it reveal to you? Did it show you the fragility of time, the gift of being present, the courage it takes to love someone without needing guarantees? Maybe it made you softer. Maybe it made you stronger. But whatever it did, it changed you. Now ask yourself gently, how are you living differently today because of that goodbye? Take a breath. Let whatever rises. There's wisdom in the silence, waiting to be heard. Lesson 11. Transformation begins with acceptance. Let yourself exhale, fully gently. And with that breath, let go of the grip you've been holding around what should have been. The life that didn't unfold the way you hoped. The outcome you prayed for that never arrived. It's time to release the weight of wishing it had gone another way. Because the truth is, it went exactly the way it needed to. Not to hurt you, but to awaken you. Loss is something we all meet sooner or later. But suffering only becomes sacred when we allow it to shape us. When we don't just survive it, but grow through it. This is the nature of life, not a straight path with predictable turns, but a spiral. It winds us back through old emotions, forgotten wounds, and hidden wisdom, so we can let go, not once, but many times over. If these words stir something in you, offer yourself a quiet moment to let them settle. Like this video, if it resonates. Subscribe if you're walking a path of inner healing. And in the comments, we invite you to reflect. What loss has been your greatest teacher? Because what you lose today may return tomorrow, not as what it was, but as light. Lesson 12. The ones who leave often leave us changed. Some people come into our lives like constellations flaring into view, brief, bright, unforgettable. And then, just like that, they're gone. Not everyone is meant to stay. Some souls arrive with no promise of permanence. They don't plant roots. They spark awakenings, and while their absence may ache, something of them always lingers. A shift in your perception, a lesson that reshaped your heart, a new seed planted in the soil of your becoming. We often grieve the departure. We long for what was. But what if their purpose was never to stay? What if they came to stir the parts of you that had gone numb, to awaken a truth you couldn't have faced alone? Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some arrive to hold up mirrors so you can see yourself more clearly, even if only for a moment. And then they leave. The mind may not understand. The heart may protest. But the soul remembers. Growth doesn't always feel gentle, and not all teachers announce themselves. Close your eyes. Bring to mind one person who is no longer in your life. Someone you once loved. Someone you lost through time, through conflict, through silence. Now whisper softly to your own heart. Thank you for the gift I couldn't understand back then. Maybe their absence taught you how strong you truly are. Maybe their betrayal helped you define your boundaries. Maybe their fleeting love reminded you that your heart still had the courage to open. And sometimes, what their presence couldn't teach you, their absence finally could. After they're gone, things begin to make sense. The confusion clears. The laughter echoes with more meaning. Even the pain takes on purpose. And slowly, you begin to understand that chapter ended because your story was ready to begin again. Lesson 13. Some goodbyes leave light, and with time, the wound softens into wisdom. The ache of what's missing transforms into meaning. You begin to ask not, why did they leave? But rather, what lesson did they leave behind? The answer may not shout. It may not come wrapped in clarity. It may be subtle, a whisper tucked inside your evolution, but it's there. Because no soul crosses your path by accident. Everyone arrives carrying something, and everyone departs, leaving something behind. That is the sacred rhythm of this life, not coincidence, not cruelty, but a choreography of cause and compassion. Let go of the idea that relationships must be permanent to be meaningful. Some of the most profound awakenings in your soul were sparked by those who appeared only for a chapter, yet changed your entire book. The monk you spoke with for one unforgettable evening, the friend who lit your way through a hard season, then quietly faded, the stranger whose words healed a wound you didn't know you still carried. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you until the very end, but every single one leaves footprints in your heart, in your spirit, in your becoming. So instead of clinging, offer gratitude. Let your grief become thank you. Let your longing become learning. If someone just came to mind, take a pause, feel the stillness, and whisper, not "I miss you," but "Thank you for the beginning. Thank you for the change you brought." Because some encounters weren't meant to last. They were meant to awaken. And even shooting stars, though they vanish, leave light behind. If this touched something inside you, let it move through you. Like this video, subscribe for more reflections rooted in Buddhist wisdom, and in the comments share. What did someone leave behind when they left your life? Let their light guide you. Even now. Lesson 14. The universe doesn't punish, it realigns. There are moments when life stings. Not gently, not abstractly, but deep, personal, and piercing. A door shuts without warning. A person walks away. A dream falls apart right as you were reaching for it. And in the hollow space that follows, the mind cries out, "Why me?" But the universe is not cruel. It's not random. It doesn't punish. It redirects. What appears as misfortune to the eye may be grace in motion underneath. Sometimes the detour is not detour at all. It's the true path taking shape, disguised as uncertainty. Picture a sailboat on open seas. The wind shifts unexpectedly, pushing it off course. The sailor tightens the ropes, adjusts the sails, and wonders, "Am I lost?" But unknown to them, the wind, though unplanned, was necessary. It carries them toward safer shores, toward a coastline they never would have reached had they stayed the original course. That's how Dharma flows, not in straight lines, but in elegant, adaptive bends, like rivers, twisting, adjusting, yet always remembering the ocean they were born to find. Now, place your hand gently on your heart. Feel your breath rise and fall. You are not being punished. You are being placed precisely where your soul needs to grow. Lesson 15. You're not lost. You're being led. Whisper to yourself now, as softly as a prayer, I am still being led, even now, even here, even through this. You are not lost. You are being gently rerouted away from what would have broken you and toward what will slowly, beautifully become you. Pain often feels personal, but more often, it's not punishment, it's path correction. It's life turning the wheel, steering your ship, adjusting the course of your becoming. But we resist it, don't we? We misread detours as dead ends. We see long pauses as proof we've fallen behind. We mistake heartbreak for karma and setbacks for shame. But what if the universe wasn't shutting you out? What if it was inviting you inward, not to collapse, but to awaken? Ask yourself gently, what pain have I confused for failure? Was it the job that slipped through your hands? The love that left without warning? The timing that always felt too late? And now, what if it wasn't rejection, but redirection? What if the very no you once feared is carving space for a greater yes you've yet to understand? In Buddhist philosophy, Dharma isn't about deserving. It's not about reward. It's not about retribution. It's about awakening. Every experience is a bell ringing, calling you back to your sacred path. The louder the pain, the clearer the invitation. But only if you pause, only if you listen. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Maybe the universe tried to whisper, but you didn't hear. So it sent a stronger wind, not to break you, but to break the illusion of control. So something deeper, truer, and freer could finally take the lead. Not your plans, not your ego, but your presence, your essence. So breathe and let go of needing it all to make sense today. Let go of the self-blame. Let go of the fear that you've somehow fallen off track. Because you haven't. You're still moving. You're still growing. And the detour you fear is not a delay. It's a deeper unfolding. If these words spoke to you, if they opened something still and sacred inside like this video, subscribe to continue walking this path of insight and reflection. And in the comments below, share. What detour in your life now feels like a redirection in disguise? Because the wind may shift, but the soul always finds its way home. Lesson 16. Stillness is the language of the soul. The soul doesn't speak in shouts. It doesn't rush to interrupt. It doesn't demand your attention, like the world does. It whispers, and only in stillness can you truly hear it. Just as a muddy pond clears when left untouched, so too does the mind find clarity, not through effort, but through calm. The more still you become, the more clearly life begins to speak. So take a moment, turn inward, let the world outside pause for a while. Close your eyes and just sit with no expectation, even for a few minutes. Breathe in slowly, and don't try to fix anything. Don't chase your thoughts. Don't silence them either. Just sit and let everything arise as it is. That tightness in your chest, it has something to say. That unspoken longing, it holds wisdom you've been too busy to receive. That restlessness you keep dismissing, maybe it's not a flaw. Maybe it's your soul trying to move you back to what matters. Now ask yourself gently, when was the last time I truly listened? Not to noise, not to advice, but to the quiet pull of your own being. The world may glorify speed, urgency, reaction, but the soul unfolds in slowness. And some of the most important truths don't arrive in thunder. They drift in like morning mist, soft, subtle, sacred. What if the guidance you've been seeking has been trying to reach you for a long time, but the noise of expectation, of distraction, of fear has drowned it out? What if your next step doesn't require more thinking, but simply more listening? Buddhist wisdom reminds us, insight isn't something you force. It's something you uncover. It's already within you, quietly waiting beneath the surface. Your breath knows. Your body knows. The stillness knows. But you must become quiet enough to remember. So today, give yourself this sacred gift. Close your eyes. Breathe in peace. Breathe out everything else. This silence is not emptiness. It is space, holy, fertile space. And from that space, your truth will begin to rise. Because the quieter you become, the more life begins to speak. If this reflection brought stillness to your heart, like this video, subscribe to stay close to this path of gentle, soul-rooted Buddhist wisdom. And in the comments below, share with us, what has silence shown you that noise never could? Stillness is not the absence of presence. It is presence at its most powerful. Let it guide you. Let it ground you. Let it speak through you. Lesson 17. The journey isn't about what you want. It's about who you're becoming. We chase our longings like distant mountains, moving steadily, sometimes desperately, toward the dream we've named enough. We push, we pray, we plan, all in the hope that one day we'll arrive. But what if that mountain isn't waiting for you to reach it, but for you to become the version of yourself who's ready to receive it? What if the door doesn't open to the one who knocks the hardest, but to the one who has grown wise enough, humble enough, present enough to walk through it with grace? Because desire without readiness becomes suffering. And the universe, ever wise, ever watchful, doesn't always give you what you want when you want it. Not because it's cruel, but because it's kind. A locked door may not be rejection. It may be protection, like unripe fruit picked too early. What we grasp before we're grounded enough to carry it often sours in our hands. Delay is not denial. It's an invitation to become the one who is strong enough, whole enough to not just receive the dream, but to hold it without fear, without dependence, without collapse. Close your eyes. Now, take a gentle breath and imagine the version of you who already lives the life you long for. Who are they? How do they move through the world? What do they no longer cling to? What burdens have they released? You'll see. This was never just about chasing something out there. It was about growing into something in here. The soul doesn't take shortcuts. It's not rushing to the peak. Because the gold, it's not at the summit. It's in the climb. Every disappointment, every delay, every detour is chiseling away what is false, so that what is true may finally be revealed. The more we resist the becoming, the longer it takes. But the moment we stop asking, "When will I have it?" and instead ask, "What must I learn?" everything begins to shift. In Buddhist teaching, transformation isn't about attainment. It's about alignment. The outer world mirrors your inner evolution. So the real question isn't, how do I get what I want? But rather, am I becoming the one who can hold it with wisdom, with balance, with love? Because what you seek is not out there. It's within, planted as a seed in the soil of your soul. That ache in your heart, that longing, it's the whisper of your future self, calling you forward. Let go of timelines. Let go of frantic striving. Instead, lean into the becoming. Ask with honesty and love, who must I grow into to receive what I'm asking for? And even more bravely, what part of that transformation am I still resisting? Is it an old belief you're still clinging to? A fear you haven't faced? A truth you've avoided feeling? Whatever it is, that's where your next step begins. Lesson 18. What you're chasing is waiting for who you're becoming. Maybe the final piece isn't about striving harder, but about having the strength to stay present, even when it's hard. Maybe your soul isn't asking for more motion, but for more devotion to the process you're in. So trust this. What you're chasing, it isn't running from you. It's waiting for you to rise, to soften, to align. And when you finally become the version of yourself who's no longer chasing, but simply ready, you'll meet what you've been seeking with stillness, not urgency, with power, not panic, because by then, you will have become the one it was always meant for. Lesson 19. You are already living what you once longed for. There's a strange blindness that follows us when we move too fast. We pass through answered prayers like they're just pit stops on some endless road, never realizing that the very ground we're standing on is sacred. Look closely. What you have now, this peace, this strength, this breath, were once desperate whispers in the dark. The friend who stood by you, the morning that greeted you with quiet instead of chaos, the version of yourself that can sit with pain instead of running from it. These were once the things you begged for, and now they're here. But the mind, restless and ever unsatisfied, keeps scanning the horizon. What's next? Where else should I go? What more should I chase? And in doing so, we forget to kneel in awe of what already is. Picture a traveler who never folds the map. They reach the village, smell the blossoms, feel sunlight kiss their face, but their eyes never look up. They keep scanning directions, searching for a destination they've already arrived at. That's how many of us live. We are walking the exact path we once pleaded for, but we're too focused on what's next to feel the grace beneath our feet. So pause. Right now. Take a breath, slow, tender, intentional, and name 3 things in your life that once lived only in your imagination. A healed relationship, a sense of inner peace, a project you love, a morning that starts without dread, a version of you who is no longer just surviving, but becoming. These are not small things. They are evidence that your prayers were heard, that life in all its mystery has been whispering back all along. But you must slow down long enough to receive it, to feel it, to let it land. Many people are out there searching for fulfillment while standing in the very place it lives. So ask yourself, have I received what I already have? Have I allowed myself to arrive? Because the soul doesn't only crave achievement. It longs for presence. And presence, not plans, not perfection, is where joy begins to bloom. In Buddhist teaching, we are reminded again and again, the sacred isn't waiting somewhere else. It's here. It's now. It always has been. Lesson 20. You are already in the sacred. It's here, not in the future, not in the distance, but in this breath, in the rhythm of the wind, in the bird song that greets the dawn, in the quiet hand resting in yours, and in the miracle of how you survived what you once believed would break you. Miracles are not always loud. They don't always announce themselves. They arrive humbly, soft as mist, easy to miss when life becomes a race. So today, instead of asking, "What do I still lack?" ask, "What do I already hold in my hands?" Instead of wondering where you're going, look back gently and ask, "Where have I already been guided?" Maybe, just maybe, the search can stop for a little while. Maybe you don't have to keep proving or striving or climbing. Maybe you are already here, and that dear soul is holy, because when you stop looking only toward the horizon, you finally begin to see the beauty blooming quietly at your feet. That life you once whispered for beneath your breath might already be your reality. Now is the time to live it, to feel it, to honor it, to look around and softly whisper, "Thank you." Bonus reflection. What's meant for you is already on its way. There is a quiet wisdom the soul holds, but the mind often forgets. What you're seeking is also seeking you. We spend so much of our lives reaching out, striving, searching, grasping for love, purpose, clarity, like it's somewhere just out of reach. But beneath all that movement, there is something deeper unfolding, something sacred, something written in divine ink. The soul's journey is not random. It is guided by a timing and a choreography far more intelligent than we can see. Think of a flame and the wind. Sometimes they drift apart. Sometimes they come close. But always, always, there is a gravity between them. A pull. A rhythm. This is how the universe works. What's meant for you is not static. It's not standing still, waiting. It's moving. It's finding you just as you are finding it. But the more desperately we chase, the more fear clouds the path. The more urgency tightens our vision. And the more we search from lack, the more we miss what's already approaching. There is a gentler way, a still rooted, certain way. It's not the path of chasing. It's the path of receiving, where you no longer become the seeker, but the magnet. And it begins here, with this breath. Take it in. Let it settle you. And now, say softly in your heart, what is mine is already finding me. Again, say it not as a wish, but as a remembering, because deep down, you know it's true. Final lesson. You don't need to chase, you just need to trust. What if the chase could finally stop? What if you no longer had to run after what your heart longs for? What if, right now, the threads are already being woven? And what's meant for you? Love purpose. Clarity is not locked behind distant doors, but is quietly making its way toward you. Stillness isn't passivity. It's not doing nothing. It's doing something profound, trusting. It's power without noise, strength without movement. In the silent space of your heart, you begin to allow, not force, the arrival of what is right for you, the person, the path, the peace. These things are not born from striving. They emerge through presence, through the deep, grounded energy of enoughness. So ask yourself, now, can I make room for what's coming? What beauty might appear if I stop chasing? What wisdom might rise if I stop clinging? You don't need to perform your worthiness. You already are enough. And that quiet truth alone is strong enough to draw what's yours into your life. In sacred teachings, it is written, what is meant for you will not miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. So let the wind carry its gifts. Let the divine timing unfold. Let the mystery move through your stillness, because you are not waiting. You are aligning, and the path meant for you, the person meant for you, the healing meant for you. It's already in motion. Maybe it's closer than you think. All you must do is be here when it arrives. Quick reflection. Summary. What you've learned. The moment that broke you, there was also the moment that opened you. Pain doesn't always come to punish. It often arrives to awaken. Your greatest growth often begins in the most unexpected cracks of your life. What breaks you may also be what frees you. The healing you've been seeking may be hidden in the very places you used to avoid. Don't be afraid to sit with the ache. It knows the way. The delay you feared was not a denial. You were not forgotten. You were being divinely aligned. What you thought was withheld was actually being prepared for the perfect moment. Life does not say no without purpose. Sometimes it says not yet with love. Trust the unseen timing. Trust the pauses, the setbacks, the stillness. What falls away in your life is not your loss. It's space being made for something better, truer, more aligned with who you're becoming. Nothing real can be taken. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means allowing truth to rise. You are not falling apart. You're clearing the path. You're becoming. Lesson 21. Your path was never broken. It was recalibrated. Rejection is not always a loss. Often, it's the universe's way of gently turning you toward your true path. Not every closed door is a mistake. Some are merciful boundaries guarding you from detours that would have led you astray. The soul is not here to stay comfortable. It's here to expand. And real expansion rarely happens in ease. It happens in challenge, in friction, in the sacred tension between where you are and where you're meant to grow. Growth demands discomfort. It asks for courage, and it offers in return the quiet power of transformation. So when life strips something away, don't call it the end. It may be the beginning of a deeper understanding. Everything you lose returns not always as what it was, but as wisdom, as clarity, as compassion. The ones who leave, they leave footprints behind. Not every soul is meant to stay. Some come only to mirror something you needed to see, to turn your heart toward healing, or to teach you the lesson their presence alone could not. The universe does not punish. It redirects. Suffering is not always a sign you've done something wrong. Sometimes it's your soul being corrected, refined, aligned. Life doesn't break you out of cruelty. It breaks you when needed, so you can belong more fully to yourself. And in the quiet, you'll begin to hear what noise always covered. Stillness speaks. Slow down, and the answers rise on their own. When you stop pushing, peace has room to enter. When you stop chasing, you finally begin to become. And what you become is what you attract. You cannot receive what you're not ready to hold. You must grow into it. So let your focus shift. From when will it come to who must I become? Because as you grow, it comes. Child, you may not realize it yet, but you're already walking on the very path you once prayed to find. So many of the blessings you begged for in silence are now part of your ordinary life. Gratitude anchors you. Presence brings those miracles into focus. The one meant for you, already on their way. the peace you seek already being shaped behind the veil. You don't control the timing, but you can choose to trust it. And when you let go of your grip, life can finally place what belongs in your hands. There will come a moment, perhaps even now, when you realize not a single step was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the waiting, not the season where nothing made sense. Each one was a brick in the foundation of who you're becoming. Life was never working against you. It was working through you. This is the dance of karma and dharma, where every cause carries intention, and every effect arrives with hidden blessings. What seemed random was often divine guidance, wearing the disguise of silence. The people you met, the detours you didn't understand, the losses that once broke you, all were aligning you with the life you were destined to awaken into. Final reflection. You are not behind. You are becoming. Peace is not found in controlling the path. It's found in surrendering to a deeper wisdom, one that your mind can't always comprehend, but your soul knows intimately. There is something sacred guiding your chaos into calm, something ancient shaping your unfolding with purpose. Everything that arrives is a teacher. Everything that leaves is a liberation. So walk slowly. Trust the pauses. Honor your becoming. You are not late. You are not lost. You are arriving moment by moment into the life that has always been waiting for you. If this message touched your heart gently like this video, subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more peaceful, purposeful insights drawn from Buddhist teachings and soulful reflection. In the comments below, share what moment in your journey once felt like the end, but became your beginning. And always remember, your timing was never off. It was perfect.